DC Multiverse!
Well, how's it going, super friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman and BatGlider from the 13th Hour. What I like about the box art for this is that it's unique. It's its own thing. We haven't seen it before. And the back has a nice full-scale spread image of Greg Capullo's artwork of Batman on the BatGlider that we're going to be reviewing today. Out of the box, Batman comes with everything you see here. We have Batman with the BatGlider, a trading card with a bio on the back that you can pause to read if you like, an open bat grapple, and a batarang, as well as this action figure flight stand and the big action figure base. What makes this stand kind of cool is, for one, you've got this diorama of a city back here, which is really fun. It just kind of clips into the back here, but let's leave this off for just a second. You have this base where they continue the artwork, and you'll notice on each side they have these little indents, these little clippy marks. Well, what are they for? Well, do you remember that action figure flight base that I showed you previously? If we just go ahead and pop the arm out of the base, you'll see that you can actually slide it right into this part of this action figure base. And the same thing can be done on both sides. That's kind of cool. Let's just go ahead and stick the backdrop back on there, and that's what they intended. Yeah, that's really creative. I don't know how much the backdrop will actually get in the way of, you know, the big wings on the glider. We'll have to see that later on in the video. It might be a bit of a tight squeeze, but for now, let's just have a look at the figure and the glider together. So we can see up close that this glider has almost some kind of a Kevlar texture to the wings. Overall, I like it. I'm glad that it's not just smooth. Batman attaches to the glider simply by putting the glider over top of his chest and then having him just grab onto these handles. On the front here, we can see that there's a nice big bat on the harness that holds him into the glider. This is what the glider looks like all by itself without Batman on the inside of it. Get a nice close-up shot of that there for you. You can see the apparatus from below and also from up top. If you're wondering as to whether this particular BatGlider will fit on the larger body buck Batman figure, well, it will, but it doesn't really want to. You can see these little clips right here. They don't really want to stay attached because the body buck is bigger, and that's because on the back here, you see that little bar underneath there? And the clip just popped off. That little bar on the back there that's pressed against Batman's lower back, can you see it there? Well, having the hard rubber cape kind of gets in the way of that and just makes it so that it just doesn't want to fit. However, with the larger body buck, it will fit if you have a cloth goods cape, because then it makes room for that bar in his lower back to push right up against his lower back and not have the big plastic cape in the way. So you can actually put it on this Batman really easy. And of course, on this Batman figure, it fits really easy, like a no-brainer, because his body is actually smaller than the really large Hush Batman body buck that we previously were using. It fits really nicely on this Batman as well. But enough about the glider. Now we're going to take a look at the Batman figure, which is a bit of a mishmash if you ask me. For starters, you can see that it is based off of the original Rebirth Batman action figure, only where the Rebirth Batman figure actually had a sculpted bat emblem on the chest, this one just has it painted there. So it's a naked body buck chest. And where the Rebirth Batman figure has, you know, a Rebirth Batman utility belt, this Batman figure, because it's based off of a story from New 52, they've actually re-sculpted the belt and gave him a New 52 style utility belt. And they've even added the details on the back. That's really nice. It would have been kind of spiffy had they have re-sculpted the gauntlets rather than using the Rebirth gauntlets on their New 52 Batman, as well as the boots. These are Rebirth Batman's boots on technically a New 52 Batman figure. So basically this is supposed to be New 52 Batman. I'm also really liking the fact that they gave us a new head sculpt, and not only a new head sculpt for this Batman, but one based off of the artwork of Greg Capullo, which makes sense because that is who illustrated issue number 3 and really a huge run of the New 52 Batman comic. And I really do like the fact they didn't just use the Rebirth head sculpt again like they could have gotten away with doing. I always felt like this head sculpt was really more suited for a 6-inch scale figure. See, here it is on a DC Universe Classic scale custom Batman figure that I put together, and this head sculpt fits perfectly on this figure. For those of you wondering what Batman looks like with some different heads popped onto the body, here we have the Greg Capullo head sculpt from DC Collectibles popped onto the body here. I've never really liked those bat ears. They stick out too much. Here is the DC Direct 10th anniversary Batman head sculpt on the body. He seems to suffer from the same thing that the previous head sculpt did. The ears are kind of sticking out, aren't they? And here's what he looks like with, oh, that looks terrible. It's only because I haven't drilled out the, okay, give me a second. Okay, let's pop this head off. I have the same one here that I use on a different Batman figure. Ooh, you know what? No, you know what it is? This neck peg is far too long. See, this is the one I usually have it on, and I had to snip the neck peg, and it sits really nicely on the body. Okay, well, if you can imagine what this here looks like with this, then you get your idea. And this is the Batman that it comes from, DC Essentials Rebirth Batman. And here he is with the head sculpt from the New 52 Batman from DC Collectibles. I figure if we're going to have a New 52 Batman, it seems only prudent to have a New 52 Batman head sculpt on the body. Here's a quick snapshot of all the times that this body buck has now been used. We have the first release, we have the second release, and now we have the third release. And I gotta say, it took them 3 tries, but I think they finally got the gray to the tone that I really appreciate the most. Here we can see how he scales up against 2 of my other favorite McFarlane Toys Batman body bucks. This one here on the left has been used many times. It's originally the Hush Batman body buck, and the one here on the right, I'm sorry, both these Batman figures are customized. Wait. That one is a little less customized. And on the right, we have the Nightfall Batman body buck. This is originally the Dick Bat body that I just did a head swap with. And it is my favorite of all of McFarlane's attempts at sculpting a Batman body buck. And just for funsies, well, I was going to say just for funsies, you know, here he is in between my DC Universe Classic scale Batman and my DC Essentials Batman, but these guys have terrible ankles. You can't get them to stand for shit. And finally, let's take a look at his cloth goods cape. You can see that this one is actually what appears to be like a half circle. It actually goes over his shoulders, which the previous ones did not effectively do. And there's quite a bit of cloth goods cape here to muck about with. And both sides, as you can see, are wired. I can really appreciate the fact that Todd's been giving us these cloth goods capes, and I like how it tucks under the neckline of his cowl. This is how I used to do my custom capes back in the day. I used to tuck them underneath the neck part of a Batman cowl, and I really like how Todd does this. As for its articulation, this Batman is pretty much par for the course. He's got a ball joint in the chest here, which gives some reasonable torso articulation, as well as one down here in the waist that offers, again, a reasonable amount of articulation, bending him down to about that and back to about that when you use both. Of course, he's got that ball-jointed head sculpt, and it actually offers a great range of motion. He's got the shoulders with the sockets, and that actually is a good range of motion there as well. When you combine that with the double-jointed elbows, that's actually pretty good. Of course, he's got 360 bicep swivels and the ever-present rounded hinge in the wrist. He's got the McFarlane style leg attachment groin right there. You can see the ratchets on the inside. Goes out about that much, in, up, down, all around. Typical par for the course type of articulation for McFarlane. As usual, I'm going to check and see what he has as far as the approximation of a thigh cut, and it's not too great, doesn't do that much. What he lacks in the thigh cut area, he does make up for with the double jointed knees and the rounded hinges in the ankles that are also a pivot with the toe articulation. Ooh, this one's a little bit tight. Let's really push it there. Toe articulation. So all in all, not a bad combo, Batman with the BatGlider. I like this very much, and I want to say a big thank you to McFarlane Toys for sending this on over to me. An early look, if you will. These are my thoughts, viewpoints, and opinions, observations. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching, and I will see you with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.